Alrighty, so you're most likely looking for what is going to be the best way to go ahead and complete all-time domination, and current as well, because obviously if you can beat all-time domination, you can beat current domination. So in this video, that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to show you guys the best lineup suggestions, playbooks, and things like that you guys can go ahead and use and have an absolute blast with to go through and roll through all-time domination, because I won every single game. You guys can see I have all the 198 stars with an average score difference of 29, won the last game by actually 23 points, and although I had a rough start in the beginning, I was actually averaging about 75 to 80 points per game towards the end of it. Total average between all the dominations as I was learning it, about 64 points per game. So if you are excited, hit that like button down below. If you found any information helpful here, also hit that like button. Comment down below what you guys think and any of your card recommendations that maybe I don't shout out, but you've absolutely loved. And hit that subscribe button because we are on that road to 15K subscribers. So the first thing I want to recommend right off the bat is every single time, make sure that you just automatically play the hardest difficulty right off the rip. I want to make sure I tell everybody this because there's some people who will play pro difficulty and then will play all-star difficulty and then will play superstar difficulty and play 3 games to complete what should be only 1. If you play superstar, you'll get all 3 rewards, you'll get all 3 stars automatically. It is a little bit more difficult, obviously, because they're giving it all to you at once, but make sure you just play the 1. If you have the skill to do it, just play superstar, or just in general, just play superstar and win the games, you'll be good. And for all-time domination, your goal every single game as you're playing should be to get 920 or more MT, just because that's what you need for this final game right here. It jumps a massive amount from 775 here for the last game like the Spurs, all the way up to 920 here. So if you're getting consistently 920 MT every single game, you should be good the entire way through and you won't even struggle with this last game at all. I actually found it all-time domination to be somehow easier than current as I got better cards. So when we're talking about lineup restrictions, which is exactly what we're going to talk about right now, or the lineups that you should build, I'm going to take into consideration that you already have Draymond Green on your lineup, because this is an all-time domination, not a current. So I'm just going to label this one Dom real quick, just to have, I guess, a new lineup that we can build from scratch. So the first thing, and I think the most important thing, just because of how amazing a lot of the PGs and the centers are, that's where you got to build your lineup around. So my starting center actually was a power forward, and I made that the Amethyst Serge Ibaka because I absolutely love this card because he has that great 3-and-D ability at the center. But in general, just make sure you have a center that has that A+ post defense and A+ in rebounding. You want to make sure that they have at least like a 90-ish block or around that, and 90-ish in both rebounding, as well as a few good badges like box and things like that to just help them a little bit. Serge is just like that perfect center to play because he also has a 3-point shot, so that is definitely a boost if you can get that as well. If you have Amethyst tokens, I would highly recommend picking up Serge Ibaka, but my backup center actually was one, if we have point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center, right here, then my backup is Mitchell Robinson. So I don't have the shooting ability, but I still have the absolutely amazing defense. Only 15 tokens for this Mitchell Robinson. Have a bit of a post game just in case we need it. He's a massive lob threat, so if I run a pick and roll, I can just toss it up and have Mitchell Robinson lob it nice and easy. And I have that 89 block, 89 interior, 88s in both rebounding, and he fits everything that I need out of a card. So if you don't have Serge Ibaka, even though you won't have a 3-point shot, you'll still have a great defensive guy in Mitchell Robinson. And then for the point guards, what I highly recommend is that you just have somebody who can score really, really well. For the majority of my time actually playing, I was using either this Sapphire Patrick Mills or Sapphire Steph Curry. But what I ended up actually doing was picking up Ron Harper off of the token market. I'm just going to apply a contract so you can see him better. Because he is a 6'6" PG with absolutely lockdown defense, and if the PG wasn't the best player on the team, I could throw him on basically anybody but a power forward and a center. So the 1 through 3 he would lock up. He even locked up Dark Matter LeBron, and it was great. And he has a mid-range that you can actually hit pretty consistently. He's good inside. The playmaking's great, and I love that he has that 87 perimeter defense with bronze clamps, which I'll show you guys really quick right here, which is a great card to have some fun with. But if maybe defense and just playmaking isn't your thing, even if you're just going to run the plays like I do, you want to make sure you have a good offensive guy like maybe a Patrick Mills, a Seth Curry, Damon Jones because he has jump shot 4 and quick, or even this Daniel Gibson who's been one of my favorite cards in the game. Although right now I'm using Kyrie Irving. For my backup though, that would be Ron Harper. Same kind of rules apply. Now this is the most important part of your lineup, your shooting guard or your small forward. Basically, you want to absolutely confirm that you have a guy who you have the release down with and you find absolutely money. For me, for the longest time, that was this Ruby Tim Hardaway Jr., who now is actually playing on my bench with Ron Harper. But for the most of the time, it was Tim Hardaway Jr., who was another, again, 15 token card. I loved these Ruby token market cards, by the way, because he has base 49, is basically a J.R. Smith, and was super fun to go out there. And I even badged him up with a bunch of gold badges to make him an even better shooter because he was just that good, and I just got his release down. My other shooting guard was going to be Richie Guerin because, again, I was really good with his release. I found out super money, and he has that 86 three-point shot, which with my coach boost made it an 89, and in floor general made it a 90, which means Richie Guerin was absolutely knocked down. And the reason this is so important is because the plays that I'm going to show you guys are centered around your shooting guard scoring, although you can switch them if you like a small forwards better. But in general, the most important part is have a really good defensive center and have a good shooting guard. And then if you want to increase how well you're going to play even more, make sure you have a really good playmaking small forward that has Dimer. And mine was LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball, you can see right here, has 14 gold badges, and Dimer is one of them right there. The reason you need Dimer is because it boosts the shot percentage for open teammates on jump shots after catching a pass, obviously. And the small forward with the play that we're going to be running, you start with passing it to the center, and then the center will pass it to the small forward, who then kicks it to the wide open shooting guard for the 3. So if you want a better chance of making your shots, have a good playmaking small forward. On my starters, that was LaMelo Ball, and then on my bench, for the majority of the time, it was actually Sapphire Cade Cunningham, who I don't even think has like the most amazing timer or anything like that, but he has it on silver, which is still good. Obviously, gold is better, but it's all good. And then for the power forwards, I made sure it was a really good defensive guy, so we're putting Draymond Green in there, and all of you guys who are playing all time should have Draymond Green already, unless you did the quick skip ahead. But Draymond is that perfect power forward. He has a really good three-point shot with a pretty nice release. He can dunk. He has some good post game. He has really good playmaking. He has really good defense, really good rebounding, and he's fast. That perfect glue guy with a little bit of everything, and even has Dimer himself, Gold Intimidator, and things like that. Was that perfect guy. You should just have in there at the 4. And then my backup was the Ruby Pascal Siakam, because again, he's that perfect 6'9" glue guy that can do a little bit of everything. But if you're somebody who actually has gone through domination and has even a few cards, Ruby Chris Boucher will do just as good with arguably a better release than Pascal, and still has that good defense and that good glue guy nature. And what I would recommend for these last 3 players, just because you can throw on some cards that you've gone through and card graded, like I have with this Pascal Siakam, the more MT bonus the better for your last 3. Or if you want to save contract costs, make sure you throw in a bunch of golds, because those are the lowest, so those are the cheapest contracts that you could possibly have. That way you can just buy them with MT and only give your good 10 cards that. So that's generally what you want for your lineups. If you need to, you can go ahead and add like shoe cards and things like that by going to edit players. If you need any, I don't really have any, so there is that. But that's just the general lineup that we're going to do. And now we can go into the defensive settings, offensive settings, and the playbook. Or the playbook that we're going to be running is the Warriors right here. And now we can jump into what players you're going to use and why, or what defensive settings you want to run. So we're going to jump to that real quick right now. Alright, so as soon as we load the game, just like this, your agenda tracker's popping up, and you're going to go to the pause menu really quick. Now we're going to head over to game plan. Now the first thing that we're going to do, and make sure that we have every time, because maybe you didn't do this during current domination, is the adaptive coaching engine. I turned that off. It plans what your CPUs do, and I've had such an easy time without this adaptive coaching engine. I also turn manual timeouts because I don't want the CPU to decide when I'm not comfortable in game. I want to choose that. Player minutes, I also turn that to manual, and substitutions, because I like to pick when my players come in. Usually halfway through the second, I bring my bench in, and then halfway through the third, I bring the starters back in to finish the 4th. That's how I do it. You can do it differently. If you like the auto, go ahead. That's fun. I just like the consistency of picking my own lineup. Then we can head over to our defensive settings, where you can actually make some pretty fun things. Now, I've gone through and actually looked at these team focused ones where you can look at the automatic, the no threes, the shrink floor, stay home, and switch. I think if you're going to go with an automatic and you don't want my settings, stay home is probably the best one you can have, or maybe shrink floor depending on the shooters that are out there. But what I like to do is obviously bring this to custom. I turn my on-ball pressure to tight, I turn my off-ball pressure to tight, and then I make sure my on-ball screen is on automatic, my force direction on automatic, hedge automatic, on-ball screen automatic, stay attached, we turn that to no, and hedge automatic. We take the off-ball screen to switch, the post to automatic for both team post and team perimeter, pre-rotate, no, and we have switch auto on switch off-ball rules. And then when it comes to screen help, we're going to make sure that this is on no help, and our drive help rules, it's also on no help. I like having the defense because I usually off-ball with my center, just my own thing. Dribble handoff, I switch to switch all, back screen switch all, down screen switch all, flare screen switch all, and towards defense, wall up, because a lot of the time the AIs will actually try to just go into paint on defense or on offense on the fast break, and generally I want my guys to focus on the paint first, because AIs on the other end are more likely to go to the paint than to shoot. So just we're going to guard the more likely thing. Then we're going to go to our offensive settings, make sure we go to our freelance, switch this to the Hawks 2018. Play selection, we are going to go to quick 32 horns. And whenever you finally bring your bench in, you're going to have to go back to this offensive screen, take this quick 32 horns play actually off, then you see right here, we have to hit right on the stick to switch this to bench plays, from starter plays to bench plays, and then change this again to quick 32 horns. Now, if you don't want your shooting guard to shoot the shot and you actually want your small forward to do it, or your power forward, you have to hit triangle or Y and then switch and pick who's going to shoot it. I'm having Richie Guerin, so Guerin is going to be the one shooting it for me, but that's all up to whatever you do. Now I'm going to switch this to starter plays and switch this 32 horns with Guerin shooting it, just so we're all good. And then we'll get to what to actually do in the game when you actually get the ball in your hands. Although it'd be great if you could win the jump ball. Okay, so we actually won the jump balls. What we're going to do is hit right on the D-pad, bring this down to freelance, go to Hawks 2018, go to tempo, change that to push the pace, and then we are going to hit left in the D-pad and call our play quick 32 horns. Serge Ibaka decided that he didn't want to play it, so we'll just reset it, give it to Serge, and then you see we just hold it here, give it to LaMelo, and then Richie Guerin is going to run a beautiful little route along the entire thing, get wide open, and green light just like that. And that's all you have to do on the offensive end. I'm not even joking, you guys. This is one of the easiest plays that I have ever used in my life, and that's exactly how you do it. If you want to recap it, we will go into here and rewind just a little bit so we can see it, like I said, more of a in-depth way. So we call the play right here. I actually back this up and do a nice little cinematic way of watching the play. So we call the play right up here with Bob Cousy, and it starts off every single time when you call it by passing it to your center, which is R1, L2. And then once the center gets it, what I like to do is just hold in the post to make sure nobody loses it. Whenever it calls up, you want to pass it to that small forward right down there. And you'll see off to the left right here, Richie Guerin actually does a little down screen right here where he runs in to fake out that defender and then runs through a Cousy screen, then has to run through a Draymond Green screen, and then Draymond actually set a pretty bad screen, and then he finally has to run through an Ibaka screen, and this is the great one right here where Guerin sets up easy green lights and can smack it out no problem. Now there is a second option where right here on this first two screens, you can see Guerin is actually looking really open right now. If that power forward sets the screen, you can launch it right there and shoot the three, but I think the more consistent option, it's every single time running that defender through the third screen and then chucking up the three. It's just easier for me. And then on defense, I like to off-ball with the power forward or center. Draymond Green's a great one to off-ball with because he's so good defensively. And then we just make sure that everybody is playing their stand-up defense. If somebody picks up the ball, make sure you pressure them and just switch constantly like this and switch to get those contests nice and easy. Rebounds will not always go your way. Try to get some blocks and get some boards, and then boom, we can get it again. Call our quick 32 horns play, and the offense continues just like that. We bring it over, pass it to Serge, hold the L2, pass it to LaMelo Ball. We sit here, we wait, we run him through two screens, and we pass it to Guerin. I went a little early, and I timed my jumper bad, but you can see he gets open every time. I'm telling you guys, as long as you focus on your defense, this offensive play will cover you the entire time, and I don't really think you'll ever lose a game, because if you can time your jumpers, you just struggle getting open, this is the perfect play for you. So, if you did enjoy this video or found it helpful, hit that like button down below, comment what you guys thought of the video, what your thoughts on this play, and if you want to see a full breakdown of the Two Warriors playbook, because let me tell you guys, it's pretty good. It has carried me to all-time domination wins. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new to the channel. We are on that road to 15K subscribers, so if this did help you out, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.